So this is how to beat the Magibullet. There's some pretty good effects based off of the columns, based off of the monsters and monster zones and spells and trap zones. Those are the columns in which most of these monsters get their abilities from spells and traps being activated, but within those zones. Most players like to use ties of resonance to try to get the most field presence and get the most effects. So they have options. They could choose to draw 2 cards, or they can choose to get a Magibullet card with a different name from the card they activated from the graveyard to the hand. So it's a way of recycling their spells and traps. Then you got the shooter Casper. You will add a Magibullet card with a different name from your deck to your hand. So use your spell and trap searcher, and so on and so on. They all have their own abilities. The main thing is that all their individual effects are good, of course, but you don't need to mainly focus on all their individual effects. What you need to focus on is their main effect, which is they allow the player to play Magibullet's spells and traps from their hand, which is what you got to worry about. Since the cards can be played from their hands, you never know what card is going to be played at what time. So, so with the fact that they have the spells and traps in their hands and they can activate at any time from their hand, that element of surprise makes it hard for you to determine. Like, it makes your MSTs relatively useless. Your turn twisters useless because all the spells and traps are in their hand and they can be activated from the hand. So it makes it tough to gauge and to figure out how many traps, how many spells your opponent has, because they don't set their spells and traps. They don't need to. They still can, but they don't need to, as long as they have the Magibullet monsters on the field, allowing them to play their spells and traps from their hand. And then the fact that they can activate their traps from their hand in the same turn, they don't have to set it and then wait a turn to activate it. It turns their traps into spells, so it makes it even more dangerous. So it's not like if they have 4 traps in their hands and 1 spell, they can only play 1 spell and then they have to set the traps, right? As long as they have a Magibullet monster, they can play all 4 of those traps. So it's like having 4 spells, which is pretty dangerous.
She fucking confused me because she got so cool.
But it makes it a really interesting archetype, and that's the thing. It's a challenge, and we all like. Well, I know I like challenges, but we all should like challenges. That's the whole point of this game. Is challenges. It's supposed to be competitive. So since it's hard to figure out how many spells and traps they do have versus how many monsters, since most of the cards will be in their hands, they're going to have monster spells and traps in their hands, and because of that, the fact that they have a couple monsters in their hands will hide how many spells and traps they have in their hands. It could be different if they only have 1 spell and 3 traps in their hand. Like, if they only have 4 cards in their hands and none of them were monsters, you can, pretty much start guessing how many responses they have, which would be typically 4, because based off of the number of cards in their hand. If they have 6 cards in their hands and 3 of the cards are monsters, then that means they only have 3 responses, but you don't know that they only have 3 responses because they have 6 cards in hand. So, and since your opponent's hand is not the spell and trap zone, it makes it dangerous. Plus, by being able to play spells and traps from your hand, as opposed to putting them on the field, you can literally activate like 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, 20 spells and traps in a single turn if you draw a lot, right? Like through a max C effect. Now you have all these spells and traps you can play, and you're not taking up that much space in your spell and trap zone, since you're playing one after another, and that's kind of dangerous because typically you only have a maximum of 5 spells and trap zones. For the fact that your opponent could play more cards than that just because they're playing cards from the hand. As long as they leave one of those zones open, they can play more cards, spells, and traps than they have currently on the field. But the fact that they can play it from their hands, they don't even need to put anything on the field, so they can leave space on their spell and trap zone for other stuff. Especially since the pendulum zones has moved to spell and trap zones, they could play pendulums in their spell and trap zones and still have 3 spaces necessary to play whatever they want to play. So since you need to focus on making it where they can't play the spells and traps from the hand, because you want to slow them down, right? You want to slow down definitely the traps. You want them to set the traps. You don't want them to play the traps from the hand, so you need a way to take away that ability. That ability that allows them to play for cards from the hand. So you want to use something like Skill Drain, which will constantly take away that effect. For example, Light Imprison is a good card, but Light Imprison, since that effect is continuous, Light Imprison would be useless against them in that regards. But it will be useful when they trigger their own individual effects. So that's what Light Imprison for is to deal with their individual effects. You know, their ability to draw, their ability to search, their ability to recycle, the ability to special summon. That's what you're going to be using Light Imprison for, not to negate the whole playing spells and traps from the hand part. That's what Skill Drain is for. Since the cards are spells and traps, obviously playing stuff like Dark Prime, Royal Decree, Magic Deflector. Magic Deflector can prevent quick play spells, which, as you can see right now, they mainly have their spells are mainly quick plays that they play, unless we're talking about Ties of Brethren, but that's not part of the archetype. So this would be useful to negate the effect of the quick play spell cards. And if they end up getting a field spell or continuous spell card, or even a equip card, this will hit those cards just as well. But the main thing is you're trying to use this in a way to deal with their the quick play spells, so you can chain it and make them useless. Royal Decree, Trap Stun, those are the types of cards you can obviously use in response to the traps. Wing Blast is like one of the many different types of cards you can use to try to get rid of your opponent's Magibullet monsters. Because as long as they don't have their monster on the field, they're not going to be able to hurt you as much. So you can use anything that can stop that. By making sure they don't have monsters on the field, that gives you an advantage. MST is mainly to deal with any of their continuous spells, continuous traps, or continuous spells in case they get a field spell or something. And that's MST specifically for Devil's Deal. Because Devil's Deal makes it where their Magibullet monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. And of course, you want to be able to Dark Hole, Jackey, stuff like that, be able to board wipe them. So that's where MST comes into play. I should put in the Jackey card, right? Where is it?
I don't even know your brother, little
Should put it in there, because you'll need it. Because you want to you don't want them on the field. So if they're not on the field, the traps and spells in the hands will be relatively useless. But they do have.
Right, we supposed to know he's gonna blow us up.
What was it? Well, mainly Devil's Deal is their main defense. But since you can Jackey, and then when they activate Devil's Deal, you can chain MST to it in order to destroy it, so that way it's not on the field to protect them from Jackey. Also, if the opponent has like one Magibullet monster in the field and a couple cards in the hands, you can just Kaiju them. If you play Kaijus in your main deck, or you have a Kaiju deck, you can use Kaiju. You can use stuff like Hour Golem, things of that nature. Volcanic Queen, anything that will let you get rid of the Magibullet monsters. That way, they don't have the ability to play the spells and traps from their hand. So these are just some things you can do to deal with them. Since you're trying to stop them from using the spells and traps, or you let them use their spells and traps, but you were trying to stop the monsters' effects and then destroy the monsters. That way they use this. You can even use Ghost Ogre. Most people main deck Ghost Ogre.
Now, bro, before you go and you start, before you
Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit. You use Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit because it can be used on either player's turn, so you can use her to destroy the Magic Spectre monster. If Magic Bullet monster is not on the field, it won't be able to allow them to play the spells and traps from the hand, plus the Magic Bullet monster won't be on the field to keep using its effect. And Sky Blaster is a typical tool. Most of the time, your opponent's just going to be normal summoning the Magic Bullets. They're not going to really be special summoning them like that, unless it's through the effect of Tiger Brethren. And so, one-on-one is not going to be used as much. Sky Blast, can deal with any monster that was normal summoned, but this also is helpful when you need to get rid of the Devil's Deal continuous trap card. So that's the other reason for it. And it's a 2000 attack rate. It can take down most of the Magic Bullet monsters. Relatively easy. Then we got Rhapsody Berserk to try to get rid of any of the spells and traps from graveyard, because you don't want them to get the spells and traps back and reuse them. It'd be kind of pointless to MST Devil's Deal, and then they'll just get it right back later with Shooter Doctor, and then play it again. And it's like, now you're back at the same situation you was before. So you want to banish some of their key spells and traps, maybe even some of their key monsters. You know what I mean? Totally awesome. They can negate spell, trap, and monsters, so that's very versatile. And you get to steal the cards from them, so you'll be able to. That will help with them not having the spell, trap, or monster in the graveyard to recycle it and reuse it, because you have it on your side field now. And what's interesting is if you use Totally Awesome, right, to steal a Magic Bullet monster and then later on steal one of their spells and traps, because now you have a Magic Bullet monsters, you can use their spells and traps against them. So that's something you can do to be creative, right, to beat your opponent with. Then you got Subdragon Infinity, relatively the same thing, negate spell, monster, trap. Lagia, it negates summons as well as spells and traps. So these are those are the things you're trying to do. You're trying to control what your opponent does and doesn't have. Another thing that it has nothing to do with a card. These are just cards you can use against them, but it has nothing to do with cards. Is try to avoid playing cards like playing your spells and traps in the same columns. Parallel columns or adjacent columns. Parallel columns to your opponent's monsters. Trying to avoid playing MST right in front of the Magic Bullet shooter, the kid, because you'll just trigger its ability to discard a Magic Bullet card to draw 2 cards. And you don't want to give your opponent pluses, so try to play your cards away from where the monsters are at, and then do what you need to do. An interesting card that I just thought about, because I like the card, that would be a good tech card for Magic Bullets to try out. Right? Defense Zone. There you go, Defense Zone. They could try that out. It's a pretty good card. Granted, your opponent gets the benefit as well, but it's a pretty good card, and if they can make it work, it'll be pretty useful, because of the fact that it'll make it so much harder for your opponent to deal with the back row. Like if a Magibullet player is using this, since it feels right, make it harder for the back row to get dealt with. Just like you want to keep Devil's D on the field and protect it, because it will protect the monsters, especially from board wipes. So that would be a good idea here to use Defense Zone. Defense Zone is a pretty good card. I mean, if it only worked for you and not your opponent as well, it'd be extra good. But it does work for your opponent, so it requires some experience. It requires some play testing to get really good with the card. And that's the end of the video.